We're going to talk to an actual expert in the field on the front lines of these negotiations. He has been back and forth to Europe and the Middle East. He's the U.S. Special Envoy, Steve Witkoff. He's spent more time with these leaders in the Middle East, Europe, and Putin himself than any other American. Steve, thank you for being with us. Thank you for the good work you're doing. I would argue that we are on the precipice of a really good peace deal in the Middle East. You have spent a lot of time with Putin. If you had to add up the hours, what would it be?
Probably close to 24 or 25 hours, Sean, of personal time with him. And
go ahead.
With him and with some of his other people, Yuri Yushakov, Sergei Lavrov. So approximately 24 or 25 hours. Okay.
I don't want to get into, I have my own thoughts on Vladimir Putin. They're not very complimentary. It's neither here nor there. Joe Biden called him every name in the book, but he never picked up a phone and called him. Here's the main question. Putting aside what your personal thoughts on him will be, do you believe this peace is attainable? And is it because of what Donald Trump did by convincing the EU to buy our oil, by putting tariffs on India, by arming Ukraine and upping the ante with NATO? Is that the reason why Putin finally came to the table, or did he really want peace?
Those are all the reasons, Sean. The president, and me and you have discussed it, has this uncanny ability to bend people to his sensible way of thinking. And he does it each and every time. I've never seen anything quite like it. And I've been around some master deal makers. He is the legend, as far as I'm concerned. And you know, his policy prescriptions are so pragmatic, so sensible. And in a distorted world, he's recalibrating it all. It's simply remarkable. And every single leader that I've met in my travels, Sean, they say the same thing as I do. Every single one of them.
You were in the room in Alaska, the very room that I ended up interviewing President Trump in. You were there with him and Vladimir Putin. You were in the room with NATO leaders and European leaders and Zelensky. If you can, to the extent that you can, bring us in that room in Alaska and bring us in the room in the White House yesterday.
Well, I don't want to delve into the specifics of what was discussed, because we're in a negotiation, mediating, and I think we're going to be very successful because of the leadership of President Trump. But there were concessions almost immediately made on the part of the Russians in the first meeting in Alaska. And, you know, part of getting those concessions was learning whether we were going to be able to see the Russians prepared to be more accommodating. And it was clear that's a bit of intelligence that's really important for us to see. And the president fleshed that out almost immediately. And that's what led to the length of the meeting. We stayed there for quite some time because we actually made progress on how we might get to a peace deal. You know, a ceasefire deal is very, very easy to break because it doesn't have all the ingredients attached to it. A peace deal is much more different. It's sturdy. And the president began to sense in this meeting in Alaska that we had a lot of the precursors agreed to for a peace deal, so why not pursue an entire peace deal? And of course, in this sort of nutty world, he got criticized for that. I sat and watched it and marveled at it, to tell you the truth.
Well, I mean, if the dog bites, if the bee stings, and you're feeling sad, Steve, there's a group of people in this country that will blame Donald Trump for all the above. Let's talk about that myself, looking at a potential outcome. Maybe not the deal I'd write down on paper, but a deal that's doable. Anything you can comment regarding that?
Look, the president, Sean, has said that the Ukrainians actually can make a peace deal if they want to. Now, we're not suggesting that they have to take it. The president has also said it's going to be for President Zelensky to make that judgment call. And I think that judgment call is all going to be, it's going to begin with security guarantees. They want to make sure that this can never happen again to them. And that's exactly how they ought to be thinking. So, but it's our job to bring the parties together, to narrow the issues, and that's what President Trump does better than anybody. He's got a real sense. I mean, he's got a real sense of what it's going to take for Ukraine to meet in the middle and to move the Russians, and he accomplished that in 2 back-to-back meetings. And I watched in wonderment, to tell you the truth, because it was his show.
It looks like that we're closer to peace, a final peace in the Middle East. The president said that Hamas had to be wiped out. They were given every opportunity to turn the hostages over. Where does that stand?
Well, look at what happened, by the way. 3 weeks ago, that proposal was on the table, and they slow-played us, Hamas. And the president put out his truth statement saying that he wasn't going to tolerate it anymore. And guess what happened? There's been a major break. They've issued the announcement, and they've said they want a peace deal. Now, the president has been very decisive and straightforward in his truth. He wants all the hostages back, and that is the position that we have. We want all the hostages back. That conflict should end immediately. 20 hostages should be returned to their families. A commensurate amount of Palestinian prisoners to be released as well. And just let's end that thing and bring peace and solitude to the Gazan people and rebuild Gaza as it should be rebuilt, as the president has set forth.
I wish you and the president every success. Blessed are the peacemakers, Steve. We wish you success. Thank you for sharing that with us. We appreciate your time.